Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Silver Lining TV. My name is Thomas. Today we're gonna actually talk. I am joined today with my business partner Scott. And actually, you know what? Let me redo that because I didn't do my opener the way I wanted to. Actually, welcome back to another episode of Silver Lining TV, where we motivate and inspire people to create a better life through real estate. And today I am excited because I'm joined with my business partner Scott Fultz. Scott, how are you doing today, brother?
Good, man. It's cold outside. I'm glad to be in here for sure.
Absolutely. So this is it's been a long time since we've been on one of these, and I know there has been a lot of clients that we've helped in the past 12 months, and there's been a common, I guess, question or concern coming up with a lot of the sellers. So I know we wanted to kind of touch on some of that today. But Scott, what are we going to talk about more in detail? What do you want to touch on?
Well, I know we've talked about the low inventory here in the Lafayette market, but I mean it's all over the place. And so a lot of people, that have thought about buying something that has definitely scared them away from it, or made them kind of pump the brakes on it. Um, but I definitely just wanted to talk a little bit more about how to capitalize on the because of the low inventory, the value of
Mm,
your home, but then how to deal with that and still be able to get something great without having to settle for something.
gotcha. So we're going to talk about how sellers can win when the housing inventory is low, and we'll break down some of the process. That way, if you have plans to buy this year or sell this year because you wanted to buy, this can kind of give you a little more clarity on how that works, and then we'll give you a little brief glimpse into what the strategies that we use to make sure that you're protected on both ends of the process, on the selling and the buying side. So Scott, let's break it down for him, man. So what has been, let's say, over the past 12 months, when you're talking to sellers and they're wanting to push it off, what have you been telling them to ease their concern?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a seller's market, and so as a seller, you do have a lot of advantages, and the thing that scares the people the most is being able to find another house and being basically homeless if they sell
Mm,
their house and don't find something. But since it is a buyer's market, like, that's even more,
sellers
strength for
market,
you. Yeah.
sellers market. You said
Sellers
buyers.
oh, yeah, seller's market. That does give you the leverage, and we set it up, with documents and everything so that you'll never have to leave your house. So, if it takes you 3 months, 4 months, I just got someone under contract, Monday, and, the big factor with the offer was the time frame, and the buyers of my people's property said they could close this week or they could close May 1st. So that was a big deal, to have that flexibility.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is the flexibility, right? I think that's important because as a seller, in order to have, I guess you could say, flexibility in selling your home or just really in the real estate market as a seller, it has to be a seller's market. You got to have more leverage. That gives you the flexibility.
Yeah.
And I know there are some things that we typically like to explain to our clients, and when we're in negotiations, some things that we touch on to make it a little like the terms and conditions best fit the client. But I will say everybody's situation is different. So keep that in mind as well. But when it comes to real estate and selling and buying in this type of market, everything's negotiable. And I don't think we've ever had a client who was selling a property end up being homeless. Have you, Scott? I
No,
know, not that
no,
I know of on our team. Have,
no. I was involved with a transaction where they did a rent back. So they sold their house, they closed on it, but then rented it back to the buyers of their property because it worked best for everybody. And so yeah, there's so many creative ways that it can be dealt with, and we
yeah,
definitely have done a lot of different ones.
absolutely. So Scott, what let's talk about some of the times where the seller didn't necessarily take our advice, or maybe they still were just uncertain and they held off for a while, but then it was just that random Monday or Tuesday, and they saw the home they loved and they were ready. How did that work out? Like, I know you were able to make some things happen because you're Superman, but I know like going through that process can be a headache for a seller. Let's talk about that. Like, what happened in those situations?
Absolutely. Usually what happens is they miss one really good one,
Mm,
and we're just not able to do anything, but then that is the final catalyst that gets them to take the first step. Getting that listing paperwork filled out. A lot of times we'll have the listing documents ready to go and they still want to wait. So,
yeah,
that fear, no matter what we say, we can talk till we're blue in the face about it, and the best motivator sometimes, unfortunately, is missing out on a great opportunity. So,
yeah,
um, and we come in and pick up the pieces of that, and kind of put the emotions at bay the best we can, but then get them going for something better. And I always say things work out for a reason. So, 9 times out of 10, or maybe pushing 10, um, they never come to the closing of that house and say, "Man, I sure wish we could have gotten that other one." Like, the one
right.
they end up getting is perfect, so it works out, but it gets a little uncomfortable, there for the
Yeah,
first stretch.
yeah, because it's going to be uncomfortable if you're not prepared.
Absolutely.
And all we do, like Scott, whenever he's talking to his clients, he's only relaying the message of being prepared. Like, let's just be prepared. And a lot of times, being prepared is actually just being on the market itself, right?
Yeah,
And and
absolutely.
and understanding too. Yes, let's put it on the market. And by the way, there's two different situations. So I don't want to say everyone needs to put their home on the market in order for them to buy. There are some people liquid enough or in such a great financial situation, they can purchase their new home and keep their current home. But like if you're like me, like normal, like some of us normal people, we have to sell in order to buy the next home. And a lot of times that preparation, what I was getting back to, that preparation is just getting it on the market, knowing what you can afford on the buy side, assuming we have your net sheet, what you can make on the sell side, and then understanding that just because we get an offer don't mean we have to accept it.
Exactly.
But that gives us more leverage when it comes for us to offer on our next house, right? Would you expound on that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. The preparation is so crucial. If you're even thinking about something, I'm such a data-driven person that I mean, if it's I'll spend 30 minutes at Staples looking at gel pens
Yeah.
because I want every bit of data, and so it's never too early to start looking into getting pre-approved on the buy side, and
Mhm.
meeting with us to figure out how much you'll make on the sell side.
Yep.
So then all we're doing is putting that information together. Um, we know I'm probably as far from pushy as you can get. I want to get you all the information. If it's right, it's right. If it's not, I sleep well at night by not pushing you into doing it. But man, you've got to have the information, or you're never going to be able to make an informed decision. You can maybe make a
Mhm.
lucky decision, but yeah, got
Yeah.
to have that information.
Yeah, I think what happens is you can be so good at your job to where if you're not prepared as a seller and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to put my home on the market. I'm not going to listen to your advice, Scott. I'm just going to wait. And then you are that seller that finds that perfect property. And then you call Scott. And you're like, okay, Scott, can we write an offer on property? So what can happen is Scott is so good at his job to where he can still piece it together for you. Did I cut out for a second?
Like one half a second. You're good. You're
Okay.
good.
I just saw my guys. We're working. By the way, if you haven't told, this isn't in the office. Like we are at home. You may hear kids screaming and stuff like that. That's life, right? But what I was saying was, you could be so good at your job. Like Scott is so good at his job, to where he could take a seller who's not prepared, and that seller they don't have their home on the market, but they want to write an offer on another home, but they have to get their home on the market first. Sometimes you can be so good to where you can still piece it together and get the job done anyways, right? Despite being way out of whack and stuff like that. So that goes to show a lot of times a real estate transaction and how good it goes, how successful it goes, how stressful it is or how stressful it's not. is dependent on the agent that you choose to serve you. So keep that in mind too. And so, Scott, let me ask you a question. With all that being said, what would you suggest for that buyer, or I'm sorry, for that seller who is considering selling this year? We're in February 2022, but they're wanting to wait until the summertime, but
Mhm.
they're keeping their eye on the market right now. And let me throw this out there. They're only waiting until the summer just because it's warm outside, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell that seller?
Um, I mean, don't you have to get at the very least get the information right now. Start speaking with a lender to see what you're going to need to do, because if you wait till the summer to do something in the summer, it's too late, or you're not going to be in as good of a position. Um,
Mm,
so at least let's get together. We can do it, run comps on your property, let you know what you could walk away with. Start looking at those numbers. Talk about a pre-approval. Get you set up on property searches, get
yeah,
pictures taken, you start decluttering, do all that kind of stuff, because it's not fun when you try to do all that stuff in 5 days. It's not fun
yeah,
for us as a team. It's not fun for the clients, for sure. So
yeah.
start now.
Yeah, you said something that I think is very important, and that is like the pre-approval on the buy. In order to get clarity on what you can afford, because most people, not all people, most people when they sell, most people upsize or upgrade in home. Not necessarily upsize, but they upgrade,
Hmm.
newer home, newer updates, stuff like that, right? And typically, especially in this type of market, it's going to be a little more expensive. Like the home that you're upgrading to is going to cost more than your current home most of the time. And you mentioned pre-approval. And if you wait 6 months or 5 months before you start the process, when you're considering, either way, if you're going to sell this year, but you want to wait 6 months, and you're shopping online right now, window shopping at homes that you can either not afford, or maybe you can afford much more home, but you don't know yet because you don't have that pre-approval or that clarity. I would say at the very least, if you're a seller and you don't have plans to actually move into the summertime, still at least get with your agent, get with Scott, and get pre-approved today. So then we can know, what can you afford? Is there anything that we can do to improve your credit, get you a better rate, so on and so forth. You don't have to put your home on the market yet, but at least get pre-approved so we can see where you're at, and then we can be better prepared for the summertime for you. By the way, you wouldn't actually list in the summer, believe it or not. You if you want to close in the summer, you would list maybe like in May,
Hmm.
you know, and then you
Yeah.
would be closed in the new home in midsummer. Because as of right now, and we keep track of this, we're a real estate team that keeps track of numbers like this. Our current transaction contract to close is hovering between 55 to 58 days. Okay, keep that in mind. And that's not a Silverline Real Estate Group thing. That's the way. That's how long it's taken for some loans to close. It's just the way it is. But we track that. Scott, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, waiting until then, again, to touch on, the whole May situation, then you're talking about more competition for you as a
Ah,
seller. So,
yeah,
the timeline is crucial. But yeah, the pre-approval, interest rates are going up and down. So just getting all that clarity that you can, and then kind of filling in the blanks as we get closer. But yeah,
absolutely.
competition is a big thing too. Uh, you know, I don't know. It's been a couple days since I've looked up the exact numbers for houses listed or active. Um, it's like what, a tenth of what would be a neutral market. I mean, it's
It's super low.
yeah,
And it's not just here, it's nationwide. So it's
yeah,
just something that we're all dealing with. But um, so Scott, we'll put a pin in it. I think this was pretty good content. I think, again, there's only so deep we can go because everybody's situation is different. I think the overall idea we want to get across to you guys is to not wait to get the clarity. Okay, don't wait to get the action plan, and understand that there is a blueprint for every one of you guys to get what you want in the time you want. We have that blueprint. We help hundreds of families a year. We've helped families who had to sell in state to move out of state. We've helped people who were buying or moving, selling in another state and buying in Indiana. We've helped those people. We've been able to help people who were at one time a for sale owner to be able to help them net even more than they thought they were going to net by working with us. We've been able to help first-time home buyers, second-time buyers, third-time buyers, investors. I mean, we have a blueprint for every one of you guys. The idea that me and Scott want to get into your guys' head because we care is get the clarity for your situation today. That's it. That's it. Scott,
Absolutely.
my brother, how can people reach out to you if they have more questions, if they want to learn, like, what next move should they make, how much their home is worth, what's the process in buying and selling, how can they reach you?
Yeah, sure. My cell phone, it's attached to me, 765-427-2982. Email is just Scott, SCOTT, at slreg.com. I'm glad we shortened that email address up.
Yeah,
Silver Lining Real Estate Group, just slreg.com.
absolutely. Yeah, reach out to him. He's one of the top agents on the team, and honestly, one of the top agents in the whole, I guess you could say, north side of Indiana. Believe it or not, like we have some of the top agents in the north end of Indiana on our team. So if you're going to hire Scott to help you, you're going to be in good hands. Scott, I appreciate you, brother. It's always a pleasure working with you every single day. Guys, this will be on YouTube, Facebook on replay. Like, comment. If you leave a comment and it's a question, one of us will get back to you to make sure we answer it. Again, Scott's information, I'll make sure I have it in the comments as well, that we can reach out to him. But other than that, you guys take care out there. I'll end it like I always do. Our goal is to help you reach yours. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks.